I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real metaphysical and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to continue our Mage Minded series. And this week, we're going to be talking about virtue and exactly what is that and why is it important for a practitioner and a mage. But before we do, I'd like to remind you to head over to workingdragonmystic.com, where you can find the Working Dragon Mystic online school and our online community. In the online school, we have classes like Dragon Magic 101, Dragon Magic 102. We have courses on evocation and full meditation path workings and training courses, as well as a free arcane sight course. At the community, it's a wonderful community filled with a lot of people sharing ideals, experiences, and talking about their path. Very respectful, wonderful group of individuals, as well as a place if you're interested in supporting the work we do. You can sign up as a Working Dragon Mystic supporter for only $10 a month. Get you access to live workshops at the school that we do for absolutely free. Normally, the live workshops are not free. Get you access to the supporter only area, supporter only lives, as well as monthly spell workings and custom spell workings for supporters at no additional charge. Normally, if I do a spell working for someone, that's around $25, and workshops are usually 10 to 15. So it quickly starts paying for itself if those workshops and monthly spell workings are things you're interested in alone. Um, and it also enters you in monthly giveaways that we do for our supporters. So, with that being said, let's go ahead, advertising over. Let's get to the fun stuff and the meat of this video, at least for me. I've never enjoyed the advertising bits. All right, so virtue. Now, this is an interesting one. When I've gone around and asked a lot of people, virtue, what does it mean to be virtue? Weirdly, a lot of people said virgin. I'm like, no, no, nope, nope, nope. That's not what I'm meaning. Nope. And grant you, those people are a little younger. I had to get older, actually older than me before I started getting in the ballpark of it. It was weird in a lot of ways. Made me feel old, but that's okay. We're going to clarify a few things here. Now, virtue could be it's general moral excellence. Okay, it is a general moral compass of you doing well, you're doing good, you're pursuing excellence in morality is the easiest way to be viewed. Now, I will say this, that what is right and wrong and what is virtuous has been seen to shift and change from cultures to time periods in history. Things have shifted and changed, right? And that is something that a practitioner should meditate on. What does it mean to be virtuous in your life? Your life, because your life, your grandfather's life, your great grandfather's life, those things might change. And even from if your path is non religious like mine, that might change a little. Some religious practitioners might have a different view than me, and that's okay. That's understandable. One thing that we should do is when we're looking at virtue and our virtue is we got to look in the mirror. Okay. So let's get to looking at this. Very straightforward. Virtue is defined, like I said, as good moral excellence. It's the right action and the right thinking. You're thinking morally. Now, right thinking doesn't mean you're following a bunch of people like a lamb. That's some cult thinking. That's not right thinking, right? It's moral thinking, right? You reach the moral conclusion. Yes, if the mob's going that way and it's the right solution, fine, it's a moral solution. But it's also if the mob goes the completely other way, you still maintain the right solution and the right moral thinking, even if everyone else disagrees with you. The same thing with action. You do what's right regardless of public opinion. Um, Goodness or morality. It's what is viewed as good or moral. That would be a virtuous person. Um, a virtuous person has a specific moral quality regarded as good or meritorious excellence in general. Like they live their life in a good way in general. Like it's not one specific act, it's things they do every day that is moral, it is just, it is right. That is how they live. Like the virtuous person, if someone told you they did something corrupt or something, you're not going to believe it because you know this person, you know them. They've shown through actions, right? Well, this is where it starts to get a little fun, though. A lot of people will pretend to be good people. They really will. A mage does not pretend to have morality or virtue. They don't. Words can be a very, very empty thing. The mage knows that virtue is something that is built in oneself and is part of his or her self mastery. And it is something that they forge every day. They're working it like a smith would work a weapon or a sword that's just constantly hammering and shaping it and changing it. It's never a finished work. It's a constant work that we must do. To pretend to be a person of virtue is to live a life seeking the approval of a world around you, thus giving it all power over you. Now, that's something we don't want as mages. We don't want to give away our power. And if you're seeking, if you're trying to make the world think you're a good person, if you're trying to do the things for the kudos, as I usually say, you're doing it all for the wrong reasons and you're not virtuous. You're just doing it for a pat on the head and a good boy at a girl. That's not virtuous. You do it because it's right, not because it gains you popularity, not because it gains you friends. You do it because it's right. That's what is virtuous. And like I just stated here, you don't do it for popular approval because then you're literally giving power of yourself over to everyone's approval you're seeking. That's the opposite of self-mastery and self-empowerment. A mage does nothing for show. He seeks to be true in action, thought, and path, right? Stage magicians might, but a mage does not. What is most important to a mage is their path, their life. They want to live true, honest, and they want their actions to represent that. They want their thoughts to represent that. And of course, the path they walk every day of their life, whatever it may be, they want it to represent that. Now, actions, I've seen a lot of people who's this one's actually probably the easiest one because there's people who use actions to hide who they really are in a lot of cases. But if you watch them close and you watch them constantly, um, you'll spot them, you'll know them. Thought is often probably the hardest one because we do get alone with our own thoughts and we have trouble. We start having negative thoughts. We start having, but learning to master your mind is one of the things a mage must do. And one of the things I've said, learn to be alone with your thoughts without distraction. Sit quietly and nothing, no distractions, nothing to twiddle your thumbs on, nothing to distract you, whether it's a phone or anything. Just sit quietly, absolute silence, and be alone with your own thoughts and find out where you go. And a lot of people's like, that leads to a dark place. Okay, you need to work on that as a mage because you need to be able to be proud and happy of the person you are when you're alone with your own thoughts. That's something you should pursue. And a virtuous person would have no issues being alone with their own thoughts. They really would not. So as we begin to temper this and understand this, consider that. How are you at being alone with your own thoughts? Um, and I'll be honest, a lot of this is going to come through constant mental training and meditation, living it day in and day out. Like I said, we're forging it. It's an unending process. And I keep saying meditation is foundational to a mage's practice and their spell working in all aspects. You really need to work on it. You need to meditate on it. You need to figure out it. I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm not going to tell you what's moral because, again, that shifts and changes from society and cultures and eras. But I think if you're honest with yourself, most people will reach the same conclusions in their day-to-day life, especially if they're not living on ego. I truly do believe that. Which actually brings me to a quote by George Washington. I actually like this quote. Once said, "Few men have the virtue to withstand the highest bidder." I freaking love it because so many people want to claim that they're going to do the right thing. They're going to stand on their morals. They're going to stand on their principles. And then we've all heard the statement, every man has a price. A virtuous man doesn't have a price. Few men have the virtue to withstand the highest bidder. If you truly have a virtue and you truly believe in something, you can't be bought. I fully believe that as a mage, if you really are seeking self mastery and self empowerment on your path, um, there should be, how do you say this? I don't think that mage would ever sell out for profit. I really don't. If you truly believe what you're saying, if you truly believe your path, you're truly seeking self mastery and self empowerment. I don't believe that mage would sell out for profit. I really don't. I think a good virtuous mage would hold their ground. Straight up, I don't think they could be bought. That's my 2 cents on it, of course. That said, a mage also understands that it is not his job to police the actions of others. This is a big problem in the world today, if you want my opinion, especially in the mage community. People's trying to get people to, oh, you need to stop them from doing this, or you need to stop them from doing that, or this, or that. I'll be honest, I have had to block emails of people spamming me with, oh, you need to stop this person from casting this spell, or blah, blah, blah. It's not my job to police the world around me. It really is not. It is not my job to police the actions of others. Each is responsible for their own actions and choices, even if it blows up in their face. They are responsible for it. We are each responsible for our position in life. We are responsible for the lives we live. We don't go around blaming everyone else. We don't go around policing the other's actions in order to try and better ourselves. We take responsibility for our actions, our choices, and our lives, and we try to solve those problems through action and magic. Okay? Um, and this is actually something that Marcus Aurelius, I always mess up his name, but I want to say it's Aurelius. You read a lot about him if you study Stoicism, and we've mentioned him on the channel before. He said, I do what is mine to do. The rest doesn't disturb me. And that is a big one. That is one that I have meditated on a lot because I do look around and I see a lot of people doing dumbass shit. And it bothers me. And I have to sit down and remind me, I'm responsible for my stuff. I'm responsible for my life, my family, my community as best I can manage. And the other stuff, it's not really my problem. And I shouldn't lose sleep over it. Right. And I shouldn't let it disturb me. Um, just think how freeing that concept is. Seriously, just think how freeing it would be to truly be able to learn to not lose time on other people's drama, gossip, or stupid choices or actions. Let's be honest, we all know these people, whether we call them friends, family, acquaintances, doesn't matter. We know there's always the drama queen, there's always the gossips, they're always doing this other crap, has nothing to do with us, really wouldn't affect us at all. And we all get wound up tight about it in one way or the other. Learn to set that shit aside, follow what is right, do what is right, keep your thoughts in line, keep your meditations going, and worry about you. Help the people that need help, but don't worry about the drama queens. They're going to stir the drama no matter what. Know what I mean? Many of us say we do not care, yet we also jump in and give our 2 cents or complain about how other people choose to do this, right? I mean, people jump in really, really quick when they see someone doing something they wouldn't do it the same way, or someone approaching something different, or they think it's the wrong way. They say they don't care of what other people do, but then they're so quick to jump in and, like I said, pitch in their 2 cents. I have seen people get so stressed of a situation or a choice another person's made, literally had no effect on them, literally no effect at them at all. Why would they waste the time and the energy? I don't understand this. And I'll be honest, I see this a lot on YouTube. Like there are so many YouTube channels that I follow where people will literally get on there bitching and complaining about stuff that it doesn't affect them. Like my favorite ones have to be the D&D community. First off, a lot of these commentators, they're just full on lying. They are just blowing something out of proportion to make it something it's not for clicks and views. And that just stirs the people watching it up and stresses them out more. We're talking about a game. First off, a game. Not important. It's a game. It's a game. Secondly, we're talking about a game where the people at the table literally make up their own rules. The rules are a starting point guideline only. So regardless, whatever you're bitching about over here literally doesn't matter because you can do it with the books and everything and just do it yourself to begin with. You really could. And it's a game. It's a game. I don't get it. But that's just a funny way to point this as an example. I have absolutely seen people get their panties in a wad over the dumbest shit. Absolutely the dumbest shit. And that like I've seen people get all twisted and bent out of shape because someone didn't like my channel. Wasn't even me. Someone told them they didn't like my channel. Why? They're allowed to have their tastes, right? I don't like tomatoes. I'm allowed to not like tomatoes. People's allowed to not like my channel. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Don't you lose sleep over it. Okay. Seriously. Don't waste the time and energy on it. A mage should live every day upholding his beliefs when around others, and even more importantly, when they are alone. Honestly, if you are not the same person alone as you are in public, you need to work on that because if you're being honest, if you're being true about who you are, that should be who you are in public. That should be who you are alone. Yes, there are certain things that might differ. For example, let's say you like to run around your house naked. You're just one of those people. You're going to be naked as a jailbird at home. It's your house. You can do what you want. It's the privacy of your home. Got it. Understand. Yeah, that's one of those things that it's not lawful to run around naked. So you're going to wear clothes. Right. That's a moral action. You're doing the right thing in that case, and that is a variant. But if some belief you hold suddenly changes because people are around and you're suddenly ashamed of that belief, you need to really look at yourself and figure out what's wrong here. Why am I suddenly altering who I am to make these people happy? Right? There is a difference. There is a difference. So take a time and consider that. Because if you know that someone has committed a crime, like you're standing there, you know for a fact they did it, you saw it, and you just keep your mouth shut, are you doing the right thing? And I'm asking that. That's a genuine question. Are you doing the right thing? And there's a lot of philosophical ways to answer that question. Me, looking in a mirror at myself, or a friend of mine, I would say no, it's not the right thing. I would like to think my friend circle, the people I trust most, and myself would all make sure that the guilty party was turned in. But I can't answer the question for you. That's part of the concept of philosophy. And part of this Mage Minded series is to sit down and meditate and figure out where you are on these things, right? Um, a philosopher, Blaise Pascal, once wrote, "The power of a man's virtue should not be measured by his special efforts, but by his ordinary ones." This one, I really do like this quote. This quote is, how do you live your day-to-day life on the standard, right? The standard matters more than, the special, because it's very, very easy to put on a show. It is very easy to put on a show. That one event, that one thing you did, that one cool thing. Um, that should not be the measure of who you are as a person. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I mean, if you save someone or whatnot, that's amazing. That's great. But who are you the other 99.9999999 repeating at the time? Who are you? That is where you should take the measurement of the individual and measure their virtue. Who are they every moment of every day, not the big special random rare events. And simply put, we choose to live each day normal, even when others are not there to judge us. That's what truly defines us. When we choose to live each day the way we're going to live it by our beliefs and everything, whether people's there to judge us or not, that's what really ends up defining us, not the mask that you put on. Um, uh, Here's an interesting exercise, actually. Go ahead and do this over the next couple of weeks. Were you to measure up each day and even minute, if we were to look at just last week or the last month of your life, how would you feel about your actions? How would you feel about your thought processes? How would you feel about how you live that? Would you fit into that category of virtuous in this thought process if you were to actually measure that? If you sit down and think about it, think about how your last week, your last few days, your last month have been, if you can remember it, and truly take a moral bearing against yourself, against your own standard, not my standard, your standard, and see where you find yourself. And if you find yourself lacking, don't beat yourself up. Work on it. Work on it. It's like building a wall. There's no wall. Eventually, there's half a wall. Eventually, there's partial wall. You build on it. Sometimes you put a hole in the wall. Okay, there's a hole. Patch it up. Fix it. Same thing. Take the time, meditate on it, see where you come out. I think you'd be surprised, honestly. I think most of us, if we're being truly honest, fall short, and we always have work to do and improve. And honestly, if we look at virtues, a lot of the things we talk about in the Mage Minded series, integrity, honor, these are all individually specific virtues of about how to live a moral life of to be a good person. But I think it's good to talk about what exactly is virtue or a virtue also. That's one reason I wanted to get into this one. And this is another one I really like. And I think this one really rings true to me as a mage and a practitioner. And this one comes from Aristotle. Let's see. Where is it? I lost my notes. Crap. But here it is. Here it is. Okay, here it is. This is very important for a mage's path. Virtue itself is not enough. There must also be the power to translate it into action. I love that because it's a direct look at power. Now, a lot of people may take this as a power and a motivation to get out in the world and to live it, and that it is. But it is also very much for the mage. It's about, do you have the power to actually implement this in your life? Do you actually have the power to walk what you believe, to talk what you believe, to live what you believe? How often have you or I talked to a practitioner who claim to believe what they study, but never applies it to their life with practical, measurable actions? Something to think about in virtue and in our magical practice. Do you actually apply what you believe? Do you actually utilize it? Or do you study it, put it on a shelf, and never touch it? Because at that point, it's useless. It really is useless. If we believe what we're stating as mages, and we believe that our practice can actually help us shape our life and our future, why are we not using it? Why are we not using it? Why are we not utilizing it to better ourselves? All right. By and large, one thing that I'll probably close this up with is that virtues were explained to me when I was younger as virtues are considered the traits that guide the moral compass, right? And that is a very simple statement, but when I thought about it, it really does. Like if you think about everything we've just talked about, I know I went quickly, but I didn't want this video to get too long. But if you look at it and take notes, those things, we are talking about that moral compass in a lot of ways, that guilt feeling when you know you're not doing something right. But also the markers on the compass itself. If you think about it, if you look down and you saw that moral compass, the things in it: honor, integrity, discipline, those things that we're going to be talking further about in the Mage Minded series and trying to go over, those are the things that truly make up the compass. They build the compass. You know what I mean? And the more we understand those individual aspects of ourself, the stronger, more useful, and more guiding to our path that compass is, right? Now, I think it is very, very, very important to have your personal moral compass. I think that is more valuable than a dogmatic compass. I really do. There's going to be people who disagree with me, but I think a dogmatic compass, whether it's from a religion, a spiritual tradition, a magical tradition, I don't give a shit. I think it is more important to have a strong self moral compass than any of those others. Those others might be a good starting point, but they're never going to be as valuable as that personal moral compass that the mage will develop. I truly, truly believe that. And if you need further explanation or discussions on that, let me know. That might be a topic that we cover in the Mage Minded series. What does it mean to have that personal moral compass as opposed to an external moral compass. All right. With that, everybody, take some time, go through these, look over your notes, meditate on some of these comments and some of these quotes. I love to meditate on quotes. I really do. And I will see you next time. And again, remember, check us out at workingdragonmystic.com, where you can check out our online school as well as the online community. And until next time, everybody, keep working, keep improving, keep mastering. Take care. Bye-bye.